Hey, it's Mazzy. Welcome back. It's time for new music. New records that have been on my table over the last couple of weeks. Just excellent stuff. All these I purchased with my own money, my allowance, my allowance. And mostly, I think all of these I purchased in local stores, which is fantastic. Fortunate enough to have a lot of brick and mortar record stores in the Seattle area, and I tried to partake and visit them and support them whenever I can. Four new records, brand new music from artists who have been around for some time in all cases, different variations of that. And then three records that have long been unavailable on vinyl. Some very rare original copies, but I don't need originals. And some of these, I don't even know if they're all have been originals. Anyway, let's start with art rock, electronic artists that go back a half a century, really, literally. Remember Half Nelson? Remember Sparks Brothers? I mean, this is the lenticular edition. I always bring for ultimate editions whenever possible. This will probably go out of print soon. Don't buy it just because of that. Buy it for the music. But I still like the artistic cover art. And of course, the Sparks Brothers always have amazing cover art going back. I was a fan since Kimono My House. And I saw them around that time in San Francisco. I think I've seen them 3 times over the years, but I haven't seen them in 20 years or more. And, they've had a kind of up and down career. When they came with those, I think those records were on Island Records. A lot of people thought they were a British band, but they're two brothers from LA. And of course, the Mail Brothers, one with that Hitler mustache, really put him over the top. Of course, remember Paul McCartney coming up. One of his multiple personalities in the video in 1980 was him. It was great. And if you haven't seen the great, fantastic documentary, The Sparks Brothers, even if you're not a fan, it's one of the great music documentaries. I think it came out, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Just in the last 5 years, I have it on Blu-ray. It's friggin' great. Even if you don't know anything about the band, in fact, it might even be better. It's creative with their output. The British director who did like Baby Driver and the Secret Agent, whatever films, a great, interesting British director did that. He also did One Night in Soho. Broughton, I forgot his name right now. I know, Edgar Broughton, is that it? But more art rock electronic favorites. They recorded at their house, their home studio, I guess, in Los Angeles. And this is called Mad. And again, it's more of what they've been doing recently with this electronic, very beat heavy, but a lot of great hooks. They're one of those bands that they're very clever. Like They Might Be Giants, clever only more on the electronic side, where They Might Be Giants maybe more organic. Organic doesn't necessarily have to mean better. It's only more expensive in the produce aisle usually. But this is really good. I mean, there's some gimmick songs. Okay, it opens up with Things My Own Way, which is obvious. Every track on here hooks you in, sucks you in. If you like their style, they'll suck you in here. It's funny, the second song, it's almost like a play at commercial sponsorship, but in a kind of a funny way. It's called JanSport Backpack, my JanSport Backpack. And it's kind of hilarious. It's the hotel for the fab. Don't dog it. The I-405 rules. If you know the 405 in LA, it actually does not rule most of the time. Drowned in a Sea of Tears. I don't even know what to say about the music anymore, about each track. And you don't need to know about each track, but it's a great record. It's a fun record. If you like Sparks, you know what I'm talking about. And if you like the last, I mean, God, for decades they've been doing electronic stuff and dance-related stuff. And in this case, also, it's nice, art-wise. You have the non-smile smile. You have a booklet here with all the lyrics and I love how the two brothers are portrayed in these spreads. I mean, come on, should have prepared for this better, The facial expressions are fun, lyrically fun. Next is an album that a lot of people have been waiting for, and it kind of surprised people that a new album was coming when it was announced a couple of months ago. And that is Stereolab's new album, Instant Holograms on Metal Film. This is a 2-record set, and these are colored vinyl. This is clear vinyl, actually. I think they're both clear. And if you don't know Stereolab, this actually wouldn't be a bad place to start. All their stuff is very accessible. If you like French pop, lounge, kind of kitsch, kind of bossa nova, a real mix. Dots and Loops is probably one of the most famous records. And over the last 6-7 years, I've collected all the reissues. They put a fantastic, reasonably priced 3-record reissues with extra tracks. I love those. The originals were going for a ton of money, and I think they self-released those records, and they're incredible. But this is a wonderful record. Now, I was fortunate enough to only see them once about 2 years ago on that last tour. I believe they're about to tour now. I saw it with my buddy, my friend, my newish friend, Todd. And we had a great time. They played in downtown Seattle, and they were excellent. They're just they're fun music. They're cocktail or lounge music. Again, this is more the same, and so they don't really break any new ground. If you've heard their music, you know what they're about. This is the gatefold there. Always have kind of clever, kind of retro-y mod pop art covers, and it's just a wonderful selection of music, and just it's got a good vibe to it. It just, again, so far these 2 records, this is positive music, and music that makes you smile. In these tragic times we live in, these are great records and great music. So highly recommended. This is Stereolab, their new record. Going in a very different direction, I got into I think I got into Coco Rossi because of The Archivist almost 20 years ago. Maybe not quite that long, but I saw them twice in San Francisco, the Great American Music Hall. 2 sisters who were brought up separately, one in France, one in America. One was a trained opera singer, and I have all their CDs and a couple of their albums. And I just really kind of latched onto them, especially when I saw them live. Now, this is along the lines of the last couple albums, that it's very danceable, very electronic beats, but they've always done a mix of operatic, hip-hop, trip-hop, slowcore, electronic music. Put on your thinking cap and just close your eyes and imagine what I'm about to say. Think of Kate Bush, who is doing more hip-hop rap beats, slow, moments of electronics coming in, ethereal operatic crescendos. That's what they sound like. Again, one of the sisters has this operatic voice. One has like the tiny mouse voice of a Mickey Mouse cartoon / Kate Bush / Joanna Newsom. So if you don't like those really high-end female vocals, you're not going to dig this at all. But it's got a great beat to it. Now, it took me a couple listens to really get into it. There is a cross track called Girl in Town featuring Chance the Rapper that's mixed in here. So you got to be into a little hip-hop rap thing. But the whole album is not like that. There's some space electronic effect, but it's actually a cool record. I am all in on them. They have this kind of androgynous, cross-sexual type of style of fashion when they play. And they're really kind of cool. Now, this record is on blue vinyl. I don't really care about colored vinyl. The pressing was good. This is called Little Death Wishes by Coco Rossi. It's an excellent record, but it's for, I'm just giving you a little warning. You have to check this out. You have to be into those kind of vocals and that kind of mix. But it's pretty interesting. I think it's really cool record. And it's got a good vibe to it. All this music has a great vibe. Now, that stuff makes you smile, but it's kind of spacey. And to be honest with you, the lyrics are in here, but this is one of those kind of design lyrics on little type. Again, even on vinyl, I haven't followed. I don't listen to the lyrics on this album, so idea what they're singing about. But Kokorossi, the two sisters there. This is Tall Tales by Mark Pritchard and Tom York. And this is the expanded art book version. Now, let me talk about this. Obviously, Tom York from Radiohead, if you love his voice, you love his music for the most part. I love Smile. I love his solo records. I think he's really interesting and artistic. But like Kokorossi, you know, it's Tom York's voice is a style that doesn't appeal to everyone, and I understand that. Now, I first listened to this. I streamed it on my laptop, and I just thought, a little kind of low key, a little interesting. But it didn't hit me. And when I was in one of my locals again, one store had some credit, and I saw this, and it was a little bit of a moment. The moment hit me that I had to get it, and I got it. I'm glad I did, because I tell you, this is where the idea of sampling something on YouTube or streaming it is not equal to a vinyl playback. The dynamics on this, and I'm sure it's some kind of digital audio because of electronics and the experimentations and the effects and things. But when you do good mastering to vinyl, it makes all the difference in the world. This is an excellent record. This is a spacey record. You want to see it, right? In this case, yes, a black polyline sleeve. It's black. I love black vinyl. Kind of a beautiful label, but I love that Radiohead and Tom York and Smile, a lot of times they've done editions that are very artistic. Now, this isn't the same artist they worked with, and in fact, I didn't even look it up. But I'll just give you a little kind of take on some of the book here. Very more electronically, like CG artistic renditions, almost like sci-fi space things going up with the lyrics in here. And I really, again, I haven't followed the lyrics here, but I think it's a cool set. Now, you don't have to go all in and get the expanded with the art book and everything. This will be limited, of course. Once this is gone, this will be gone. A lot of animated things here, kind of goofiness a little bit, but kind of cool. The music is spatial, but the music is brilliant, and I think it's really cool. So Mark Pritchard and Tom York's Tall Tales. Now, the reissues, some excellent reissues, and I want to start out with this beautiful record, Lost in Space. I think the only vinyl version of this was on Mobile Fidelity, and I never got it on vinyl. Had a different type. She changed the typeface here. If you look at the original, not that there's anything wrong with that. I like that she did this. Beautifully printed cover, embossed type on here. Amy Mann, of course, originally with Till Tuesday, but has been done a wonderful solo series. And I've been all in. I think I have 3 of her records on vinyl. I have all of them on compact discs. And I think little by little, she's putting them out on vinyl. And she's got this sort of, I love her vocal style and her writing. I think this is an excellent record. There's a certain fantasy side to it. It's a very direct side of it. I think someone criticized on my Instagram that, wait a second, she writes from a woman's point of view. No kidding. But it's great. I love the illustrations on here. These wonderful illustrations throughout on the inner sleeve and on a little booklet here, or a little one-sheeter. But you got this whole little comic, modern comic thing in here. And there's the inner sleeve. And in this case, this is a weird splattered vinyl. It looks really cool. I was a little nervous because as much as I like a great art, I thought this was overkill, but it actually works really well. And the pressing is flat. Colored vinyl is like every other vinyl. Black vinyl is a color. That's not the natural look of vinyl. But sometimes what happens is you can't see aberrations on these kind of things. I'm a little nervous about this, but the pressing was excellent. And it actually reflects the cover art in this, and it actually works quite nicely. Maybe a little overkill. And if it was black, I think there's a black edition. I didn't intentionally pick up this edition. I don't collect collector things, limited editions of splatter. But I tell you, that is pretty damn cool in a way, right? How cool is that? I mean, smoke that pipe and look at that really close. There's also a folded insert inside with some really great more illustrations, but I think it's Jonathan Cornby did these amazing illustrations. I think my son has a couple of books of his work, and it's just really, really cool, really beautiful, dynamic. And they have illustrations associated with all the lyrics from the album. A wonderful record. Again, another really good sounding record, very dynamic. Just a killer record. And this is one of those records I've had on CD since it came out, and I've been longing for a vinyl version on this. Not everything I long for vinyl, but in this series there's several that I think are great and welcome additions to the collection. Now next is the punk band, the Gits. The Gits were a band that I had heard the name, but I didn't really know much about. And a couple months ago, maybe a year ago actually now, Vinyl Richie told me the story, the tragic story of Mia Zapata. They were a band that really kind of started in Seattle. They came from a different area. I think they came from Ohio maybe. And they came to Seattle during the grunge scene, early that period. But they were on the punk side of the grunge scene. And they were kind of a really kind of volatile, wonderful live band. Of course, I never saw them. This album is called Frenching the Bully. This is an issue that just came out on Sub Pop, perfect label to come out to release this right now, obviously a Seattle-based label. This is not the original cover, as I recall. This was the original cover. This is a slick that comes in it. I don't know the whole history. There is an inner sleeve, obviously, with another kind of cool, like Xerox-like punk poster, and then, of course, the lyrics. And in this case, this is a red label. The tragic murder of Mia Zapata is part of the story. Apparently, there's a documentary out that I haven't seen. And several people over the last year or so have told me about this story. I need to kind of seek that out. But I played this. This is actually a really well-recorded record. I blasted this record. Those of you who followed me, I'm not a big fan of metal and loud metal rock and roll and blasting, that kind of stuff. I respect it's not my thing. But if I want loud music, punk will be the way I go. And I have, a bunch of punk records in my collection, and I grew up during that period, and I like to blast these records when I get them. And this sounds fantastic. So the Gits, Frenching the Bully on Sub Pop, and a good tribute to Mia, a wonderful release. And I think this is something that, if you're into punk music at all, this is an essential punk record, the Gits on Sub Pop. And finally, a record that I made a video on, a soul video on a couple of years ago now. In fact, it might have even been during the pandemic. I made a series of one-offs of records that I would love to have on vinyl. And I played, I think, a snippet of music on that video. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put a link at the end to that video. And that is Brian Ferry's As Time Goes By. Now, they just reissued for the first time on vinyl, or a long time. Maybe these came out in limited editions in Europe or somewhere. I don't know, but this is in the late 1990s. I think they just also released Olympia, which I didn't get. Beautiful laminated cover, glossy cover. But what's beautiful about this, now, this is a songbook album. This is an album of Brian Ferry with that wonderful, interesting voice of his, doing songbooks and standards of the 40s and 1950s, Cole Porter, etc., that type of thing. I know a lot of people have done things like that, everything from Harry Nilsson to Rod Stewart to Linda Ronstadt to everything, but this one is very unique. It's got this kind of jazzy combo. It's a small group jazz outfit on here, and it's beautifully done. And I played that CD to death when it came out, and over the years I pull it out. Cocktail music, romantic music, Sunday morning music. It's a gorgeous record, and they did a good job on this. And again, this is one I've been waiting for decades. As Time Goes By, The Way You Look Tonight, Easy Living, I'm in the Mood for Love, When or Where, When Somebody Thinks You're Wonderful, Sweet and Lovely. One of the most beautiful and dark murder ballads, in a way, by Cole Porter is Miss Otis Regrets. Everyone has sung that song. but he kind of does this eerie, beautiful approach to it. Time in My Hands, Love Her Come Back, Falling in Love Again. So slow, so romantic. Love Me or Leave Me, You Do Something to Me. Just one of those things. And ending with a perfect Kurt Weill version of September Song, which, again, has always been one of my favorite songs of this era of songwriting, of the songbooks we call them now. I just love this. I mean, Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong, Harry Nilsson, Linda Ronstadt. Pop artists have done it, some to better success than others. I think this is one of the best of the 70s type of performers, 80s performers. He's done a fantastic job. I love Brian Ferry. I love the series of reissues that have come out. This one has kind of a color of a mauve, not even a mauve. This is a sepia cover that fits the cover concept of art. So I just think it's a fantastic record. So buy new music occasionally. Even if you stream it or buy it on compact disc, I don't care. Just enjoy the music, because it's the music stupid, right? Mazzy loves you. Thanks a lot.